All right, let's talk about this, shall we? So according to the Brennan Center for Justice, around 9 to 10% of Americans of voting age, so about 21 million voting age Americans, do not have documents readily available that prove their citizenship. What are documents that prove your citizenship? A birth certificate or a U.S. passport. So not everybody has a U.S. passport. According to the State Department, around 50% of Americans have a U.S. passport, which means 50% of Americans don't. Now, why don't they just go get one? Well, because it's expensive. It costs about $160 to get a U.S. passport. Not everybody can afford that. Not everybody can afford groceries. Why are they going to go get a document that they're not going to use on a regular basis? A birth certificate, if you don't have a copy of your birth certificate, costs about $30, $35 to get. If you don't have the time to go to, a state office and you need to do it online, you can absolutely do that. But there's like a $15 convenience fee. So we're up to $45. You also then have to get a notary to verify you are who you say you are. And that's like another $15. So we are up to what? $55, $60 to get a copy of your birth certificate. So unless the government is going to make passports free, which I don't think they're going to do, or make it free to get copies of your birth certificate, which I also don't think they're going to do, then implementing this will be a disaster because people will not be able to prove that they are citizens. The SAVE Act, I don't think it's going to pass for all of these reasons. And not the least of which is that requiring these IDs, if you're not going to be able to provide them for free, is tantamount to a poll tax, which is illegal in the Constitution. It is discussed in another amendment. So overall, about 10% of Americans do not have a form of ID that proves their citizenship. And only about 50% of Americans, according to the State Department, have a passport. So I hope those are valid enough sources for you. But yeah, this would disenfranchise minimum 20 million people, minimum. So let's just be aware that not everybody has the privilege of having a passport. Not everybody has a copy of their birth certificate. I had to order one for myself in the last year. I didn't realize I didn't have a copy of it. I don't know why I didn't have one. I have a passport, but I needed a birth certificate for something. And so I had to go order it, and I had to spend about $60 to get it. So thankfully, that's not a big deal for me. I can do that, but not everybody can do that.